Good day, everybody. This is John Scarborough. I wanted to talk about a creek crossing. It's a pretty common problem with farmers and, well, anybody raising livestock with animals that's trying to get a fence. You know, you got that fence way up there, you know, and then you come all the way down here. I think this is probably 12 foot in places, 10, 12 foot down in here. Well, the water will go all the way up above that pipe up there, that top rail. I've seen it come down here and you couldn't see the top rail. I mean, you could barely see the fence. You know, the water will really come rushing down through here and then drops down to that right there. I mean, there's nothing there. So places like this is an extreme version, by the way. I've seen places that aren't near this bad. But this is kind of what we come up with here. This works incredibly well. This is actually a perimeter fence. So we had, I mean, obviously cattle getting out in the woods out there, that's not a good thing. I mean, they're gone. They're gone, you know. You got to find some way of getting them back in there. But this right here works incredibly well. Now, it costs a little bit of money to do, but when you go to building this, you want to make sure you build it right. I would suggest going all the way up on your wood, on your 2x4s, because you can see we're still catching stuff. Now, it's not bad. The way it slopes off there, it all ends up washing down. It's not a big deal. So if you're not gonna go all the way out with your 2x4s, then put something solid in there. And what we did was we used drill stem and 3/8 drill stem, and then sucker rod, and then this up here, I think this is 3-inch pipe. Made sure it was a big piece of pipe. There's lots of movement in there, and that's what you want. You want it very, very free, because it's going to rust. It's going to have metal in there. Rust all built up in there. So if you're too tight, that's not a good thing. You want it to be free. You want it to be able to move. So what we did was made these individual hanging or hinged 2x4s. So there's two slats of 2x4s there, and you got all those little pieces of pipe cut across there. So this is actually really good design, because the water touches that pipe, but it doesn't touch it very long. So it dries out, and that I could see that lasting probably 80, 90, 100 years before you had to replace it or come down here and fix it. And the 2x4s, so they're treated 2x4s. They've been in here for quite a while now. When you do get ready to change them, all you got to do is take those screws out right there. So I said 12 feet. I think looking at this is probably more like 8 or 9 feet, probably. But anyway, so this works incredibly well. I mean, those boards, you can see, they swing all individual, and that's the key, because you get so many piles of sticks and everything else that comes piling through here. And I've seen people come down here and put T-posts in their creek crossings. I've seen people put just all kinds of things, big gates, and they just pile up more and more and more. And what they don't realize is, well, maybe they do realize it, the more you pile down there, the more it creates a dam. And then it starts piling up more and more sticks and debris and leaves, and everything else just piles up, and eventually it becomes a big flood. Well, then what happens is that water starts trying to get out somehow, and it's going to start washing all the way out. You're going to wash your trees out all the way around, and eventually you're going to be back to the same problem again. You know, it's just not a good thing. This right here, when the creek dries all the way out, those cows, now, I don't know, I know for certain that a goat, that is not going to hold a goat in there. So if you got goats, you probably just better not let them down in your creeks in the first place. But cows, they come up to there as long as they're not starving. If a cow's hungry, or if any animal's hungry, they're not going to stay in. So number one, don't ever let your animals, your livestock, ever get hungry, and you'll have way less problems. I guarantee you that. But then this right here, a cow comes down there and just touches its nose to there. I mean, there's nothing to eat back there. It's just wood. So then it's just curious. As soon as it touches it, walks away. And we've had this set up here for, shoot, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, probably 6 years now, maybe 7, I'm not sure. Anyway, we've had this set up for quite a while, and we've not had any that has gone through there at all. Even heifers, and heifers are usually the hardest to hold in. So we haven't had any trouble out of that. This seems to work very, very well. Like I said, I don't know if it would hold a sheep in. It would hold a sheep. It would definitely not hold a goat. I would not let a goat down in there. If you got goats, you might ought to do something different. But this is an extreme version. This is probably the most extreme version of a creek crossing that I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen way less examples, like examples that aren't near this bad. And people come out here and they just cannot get it figured out, and they're just throwing stuff down in there, and it's awful. This is the worst version, and this works incredibly well. You could do this, you could scale it down, you could scale it up. It doesn't matter what you do. This could work anywhere. This is my favorite design that I've seen at all. Like I said, we came up with this. We put a lot of thought to it and figured this out, and this works incredibly well. It costs a little bit of money, but it's well worth every penny. I would not cheap out on this at all. And really, to be honest, it doesn't actually cost that much money. I think we spent $10 a joint on that drill stem. There might be a couple joints in there. And then the treated 2x4s, that cost a little bit of money, but shoot, I bet you they'll be there for 15 years before we have to replace them. It's worth it. It is well worth it. You don't ever have any problems. This is a very, very deep creek. You come down here when it's flowing, and that water will just be pushing that all the way back, and it'll just be laid back. As soon as that water goes down, it drops straight down, and it works amazing. So I just wanted to show this example to anyone that might be interested in something like this. If you're having a creek crossing, you're having a little bit of trouble out there, trying to hold your cattle in, trying to figure out what in the world to do with it, this right here, you can literally fix it and forget it. This works amazing. So if anybody wants to see any more videos or any other examples or have any questions about how to build one of these, I mean, I'm probably not building one right now because I don't really need to, but I would go into detail if anybody wanted any more details of how to do anything on this. Really, it's pretty simple. But if you want some more details or anything, comment, ask me. I'll make another video if you want, whatever works for y'all. I hope that this video helps somebody, because I know this is a problem that we faced for a long time, and I know several other people has faced for a long time, and this works very, very well. So y'all, thank y'all very much. Please consider subscribing. Thank y'all. Have a good day.